Hello, I'm Pascal Serraris from InstantVR, and today I'm going to show you how to use InstantVR Free Edition. I'm going to show you the grocery store demo on PC with Oculus Rift, on Gear VR and Cardboard. I'm going to show you how to use the avatars in a new scene, and I'm going to show you how to replace the standard avatar with a different avatar. So the InstantVR Free package is available in the asset store. When I'm recording, actually version 3.2 is not yet in the asset store. But normally you can find it InstantVR, and there you have InstantVR Free Edition. Like I said, currently it's 3.1, but when this video is published I will be using 3.2. So instead of downloading it directly from the asset store, I'm going to use a package which I have installed locally. The effect is basically the same. So instead of importing it here, I'm going to use import package from my own overview, and there I have version 3.2.2. So basically when you're downloading it from the asset store, it will import the whole package into your project. So I'm using a clean new project here, which all the assets are imported in the environment. So it's all compiling stuff and so on. So basically I'm standing now in a standalone situation for PC development, and I'm going to show you the grocery store. Okay, there it is. So nothing happening because everything is still the same. When you go into the package, you will see a number of folders, of which the InstantVR folder is the most interesting. It contains everything you will need. In this folder you find a demo folder, and in this demo folder you will find the grocery store demo in its own folder. Here you can see the grocery store free scene, and when you double click it, it will open the scene of the free edition of grocery store. So when you press play on this scene, now it will start, it will work. Just a moment. Yeah, there it is. And you will see you can move around with your mouse and you can walk around. But when you use the Oculus Rift, nothing is happening. So why is this? This is because you will need to enable the virtual reality settings. When you go to the avatar, you will also see a warning about this. You can see here in the Rift Gear VR, you see the warning: virtual reality supported, need to be enabled in player settings for Rift support. So that's the thing we are going to do. So we go to the Edit menu, and there you will find the project settings, and in the project settings you will find player. So when you go to the player settings, you will see all kinds of switches, but the one we are interested in is the virtual reality supported. That one we need to enable. And that's basically all you have to do. So now you're switching from a default situation to virtual reality situation. And now when I press play, it will start basically the same. But now when I move the Rift around, you will see that everything is moving with the Rift. You also see when you're standing, the guy is flying. Yes, this is positional tracking taking place. So that's because the setup is not calibrated yet. When we go back to the avatar and see in the settings, you will see a second warning which says, please check the tracker position with the physical position of the Rift camera. Here you can see the tracker position, which is positioned at 2 meters below the ground and 1 meter in front of you. This is actually the physical position of your tracker, and when you enable this, then when you use this properly, you don't have to calibrate your Rift anymore. So I've made a measurement of my own Rift camera tracker with the centimeter or measurement unit, and I found out that my camera is 1.28 meters from the ground and about 75 centimeters in front of me. So that's what I'm entering in the tracker position. Additionally, I have pointed my camera slightly upward, about 10 degrees. So in the X angle I also enter 10 degrees upward. When I start it now, then when it comes into tracking position, you'll see that it's quite kind of bent. But that's normal, because actually I'm not standing like the guy is. So when I stand up, and I'm actually standing up, then this guy itself is also standing up. And I can move forward, I can move backward, I can move to the right, and the guy is following my positions. So that's the way you enter calibration information. You can also leave it out and leave it in the default position. The warning comes back again. Then things won't work properly, but you can also press the enter button, or the tab button, and then it will recalibrate until it's in the upright position. So now I've recalibrated it by pressing the tab. You see it slightly moving from place, and now actually this is the base position of the guy. So when you're taller, then maybe this is the base position, and then you don't have to enter the tracker position. So it's up to you. When you use the tab, then the tracker position, as you can see on the screen, is entered automatically. So now, we can walk around with the Rift, but you could also walk around using a game controller. I have a simple one for testing purposes, and then you can additionally walk around and get much further. So just use your left thumbstick for that, and it should work with most controllers. So that's basically Oculus Rift setup. So we also have Gear VR. I have it next to me. If you want to use Gear VR, we have to switch platform, because Rift is working on PC and Gear VR is working for Android. So we go to the File, Build Settings, and we switch from PC, Mac and Linux to Android, and we select Switch Platform. So now everything will be recompiled, as you will see, because all the files need to be optimized for Android instead of PC. For this tutorial, I assume that you're familiar with how to set up Unity for Android, because that's a separate topic. I will put it in the notes where you can find information on how to set it up. That's the thing I already did with the project, so I don't need to do that. So now we have the same situation, same setup. Actually, when you press play, it still works with the Rift. That's good for testing purposes. So everything for testing, just like walking around and so on, it still works. So how do we get it to the Gear VR then? Okay, first thing you need to do is connect your phone, in this case Galaxy S6, to your PC using a micro USB. And careful, you also need to unlock it, because otherwise it won't work properly. So now I've unlocked my phone and I'm all prepared. So how do we get the demo into the Gear VR is by pressing File, Build and Run. So now it will compile all the files for use with the Gear VR. This takes a while, of course. So you're still testing with Oculus Rift, but you're building for Android. And now it's pushing the build file towards the Samsung device. It takes a while. This first time when it compiles, it takes a bit longer than usually. So basically it's just switching platform and selecting build and run. So now it's pushing to the Gear VR. No, we have to wait. Don't fall asleep and try to start. And now you can see a warning. Mine is in Dutch. Can you read it? Yeah. Well, basically there's a warning. It says put it into your Gear VR. So I disconnect it. The warning is still there, and I put my phone into the Gear VR, which will start the demo. Well, it should. But instead I see a warning. Thread priority security exception. Make sure the APK is signed. Okay. So actually it doesn't start. So what is happening here? You need to generate an Oculus Rift file. You can do that on the internet at the Oculus site. When you go to their developer site, developer center, you can go to the tools department, and there you see the Oculus signature file generator. There's a lot of instructions in it. You just to follow it up, and actually when you've done that you end up with a file with this Oculus Rift. Here you can find it in my case. So what do you do with this file? You go to your project, go to the plugins directory, go to the Android, and there you add a new folder, create folder called assets. Assets. And you go into this folder, and now you drag the Oculus Rift file into this folder. So now in the Assets, Plugins, Android Assets folder, you can find your Oculus Rift. So now we build again, build and run. Where's my phone? It's still there. I need to connect it, of course, because otherwise it can't find it. And yep. Oh, it's already saying trying to locate a suitable Android device. It's now there. And building it in all the right ways. So basically you're signing your application with the signature you generated at Oculus and stating that this is your file. You only need to do this for developer files. So pushing. Always takes longer than you hope. And it doesn't matter how fast your computer is. And now it started again. So the warning is there again. Go back to Gear VR. And then I have grey screen with made with Unity. And there I have it. I can look around in my scene. So what do we do for walking around? Well, you can use a Bluetooth, which is not started in my case. Is it empty? One. You can use a Bluetooth controller, which is now switched on, to walk around. So basically I can use Bluetooth for walking around, just like I use the game controller on the PC. Can be an Xbox controller. With the Rift, I can use Bluetooth controller with Gear VR. So now we have Gear VR, but I also have the option to support cardboard. So how do we do that? Okay. When we go back to the project file, to the avatar, you can also see the IVR cardboard file. When I open that one, it also says a warning. Virtual reality support needs to be disabled in player settings. So for Gear VR support you need to enable virtual reality. For cardboard support you need to disable it. So now we go back to Edit. In the project settings we can find the player settings, and we go back to the virtual reality supporters, which is in the other settings, and switch it off. Now when we go back to the avatar, you can see in the cardboard section the warning has disappeared. It is still there in the gears section, but that's okay, because we don't want to support gear in this case for this build. So now we can build a new file for cardboard. I need to reconnect my phone again. I'm still using the Galaxy S6 for that, because it also fits into my cardboard. So I have original version 1 cardboard. I hardly use it, but of course it's nice to be testing it properly with the cardboard situation. So it needs to recompile other things, so it takes a bit longer now again. Again, remember, it doesn't go to a locking situation because it can be complicated. Okay, pushing new content. So we have PC, Gear VR and cardboard support in the InstantVR free version. And okay, now it's launched in Unity, and you can see the cardboard is automatically started, no warnings and so on. And you can put it into your cardboard and enjoy the view. And just like with Gear VR, you can use the Bluetooth controller for walking around. So for Gear VR we could use the Rift for testing. Actually that's not possible when you do a cardboard support. So what we do have when you play with the cardboard support on, virtual reality is disabled. You see the cardboard view, and actually when you press the Alt button, so it's the Alt, and move your mouse, it is actually moving around like you normally would do with your cardboard. So that's the way you can test your cardboard, and you can still walk around with keyboard and controller. So we now have seen support for PC, Gear VR and cardboard in the grocery store demo. But suppose you want to have your own scene, which is very likely, of course. So how do you do it in that case? So I will create a new scene. Don't need to save this one because it's in the archive. And no, well, there's nothing more here. I will make a very simple scene. Add a terrain, and I put myself in the middle, and add some hills, which is always a bit nice to have a bit of texture around you. And the light is very bright, so I tone it down a little so you can see the hills. So now I want to have my avatar in this scene. You can add anything you want, houses, trees, whatever. But for the purpose of this demo, you just want to have your avatar inside and walk around. So what I do, I can remove the main camera, but I don't need to, I believe. When you go to the InstantVR folder again, you see 3 prefabs, which is Basic, Cardboard and Rift. So based on what you want to support, you can choose one of these 3. Basic just doesn't add support for any input device, it's just the avatar itself. But for cardboard, there's some warnings, but I will look into those. And Rift, you can just move those prefabs into your scene, and you will see that this avatar is now in this scene. And basically that's all you need to do. You just Gear VR or whatever, just press play, and now you see I have this avatar walking around the hills. And okay, Oculus doesn't work. Remember, you see the warning here, virtual reality needs to be supported. So instead I need to enable virtual reality again, because I switched it off for cardboard. So now I'm using Gear VR actually again, and now I can walk around and look around in this scene in the usual way. So that's basically drag the right prefab into your scene. You can find it in the InstantVR. There are 3 example prefabs for that. But if you don't want to use this avatar, I can imagine, how do you replace it with your own avatar? So when you go into this prefab or in the avatar, you will see a lot of targets. And you see the head targets. These are actually driving the avatar. Actually, you can even move them around and to pose your avatar, but that's another thing I wanted to do. I want to replace the avatar itself. You can also find in the game object the make human simple first person object. This is actually the avatar itself, and which we want to replace. So you can remove that using delete. Do you really want to delete? Yes, I do. So now you don't see anything, but it's still there. All the targets are there, and even you could play around with this. Just look around, and there is no avatar, but it still works. You can see the feet moving, or even the target feet moving around. So we could even use it without an avatar. But in this case, I'm going to replace it by an alternative avatar, which is in the package itself actually, which you can find it in the assets characters folder. Here you can find make human simple rake, and it contains 2 avatars. The first one we already seen a lot. This is the headless first person avatar, which is simplified because it doesn't have a head and a back to optimize performance. Because your head and your back you can't see actually when you're first person. But you could also use a third person avatar, which does have a complete mesh. And now you can drag this character onto the Oculus Rift, and now you can see that this avatar is now driven by the targets. So actually when I move the targets themselves, you can see that it's moving now this new avatar. You can also see that the eyes are actually visible, and that's because I have set the camera position clip plane very narrow to the eyes itself. And that's good for first person, but when you have a mesh where you're looking at, then it's not so convenient. So we go to the avatar game object. Into the head target you will find the camera, and this camera you can see is the camera object, and you have the clipping planes, which is actually set to 1 centimeter from the camera. Everything is rendered, but we don't want to see the eye, so I can change that to 10 centimeters. So the very close by objects with less than 10 centimeters won't be rendered anymore, including your own eyes. So now we have basically a new avatar walking around in your own scene. So with this I will conclude this introductional tutorial of InstantVR Free. I'm planning to do more videos on how to use InstantVR, so watch this space. I hope you can now understand how to work with InstantVR Free Edition. If you have any other questions left or things are not working properly for you, please contact me. I'm trying to do my utmost best to help you with any troubles you have. And I'm looking forward to see your projects using InstantVR. Okay, bye.